Good morning, or no, it's not morning. I normally talk in the morning. Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. It's Tess, and today I figured we'd just touch base. And I had group today with Doc V, so I'm going to give it a few minutes and see who signs on. And then I'll kind of move forward and talk. See if there's anything you guys are looking for or anything you want to talk about. I'll give it a few minutes. I can see a couple. Hi, Melissa. How are you? Hi, Gina. How are you? It's good to see you guys. Well, hello, Miss Carla. I got a few takers now. Let's see. I'll get my other computer up and going. I'll give it just a couple of minutes, and then I think I'm going to talk a little bit about. I think I'm going to talk twice. I better shut this off really quick. Oh, there I go. Nope. I can see a couple. Hi, Melissa. How are you? Shut off this computer. Oh. Had two of them going. I do see a few people now, so I'll just say hello and I'll kind of move forward. I'll give you guys a little hint. I had my group today with Doc V, and we were talking a little bit about something that has been a pattern of mine in the past, so I'll kind of share it with you guys, hoping that maybe by sharing it, it's something you can think about and decide if it relates to you. What I'm going to say is that I am a creature of patterns and I am a creature of habit. And I do get attached, and I mean really attached, to things I think work. So I'm not as quick on my feet as I should be about making changes. Now, well, hi, Miss Kay, and hi, and Jane's here. Hi, Jane. Jane was in group today too. Jane's one of my groupies, or she's part of the group of groupies with Doc V. So hello all you guys. I'll watch for any comments. And what I wanted to talk about today is, we touched on it a little bit in group today, but what it amounts to is, we always, I think we know things, and maybe we're not open and ready to learn something new or to change as new information becomes available. I think it feels like throughout the diet industry and throughout the weight loss industry and throughout all areas of our life, it seems like that what we did yesterday doesn't work today. Hi, Joan. And I think that what we need to do, oh, maybe I should just take my hair out. I have funky hair everywhere, but that's okay. End of the day anyway. But I think what happens is we get used to a pattern, and maybe we're afraid to change. We're afraid to be agile, and we're afraid to adapt. And the best gift we can give ourselves, and I kind of realized this even in group today, is that I could get farther if I kept myself open faster. And by that, I remember a saying that pre-COVID, the first time I lost over 100 pounds, just a reminder to those who don't know, I am a bariatric patient, 5 years post-surgical, between 155, 160 pounds down. No, I don't marry the number because I don't want to stay at it yet. The first time I lost 100 pounds and I was in the gym, I went to the gym probably 3 or 4 hours a night. Of course, that wasn't something I could sustain. I got medical problems. I gained it all back. Then I became a bariatric patient. But what the gym owner used to always say, and we've heard this saying before, is insanity is doing what you've always done and expecting different results. Now, the problem with that is if I got a good result for a period of time, it was hard for me to recognize when it was time to change. And by that, I'm going to kind of say that as a bariatric patient, when I had surgery, they encouraged and even supported having premier protein shakes. That was part of my team. That was something they supported. When I got to a year out, I can remember, and again, I'll watch for any comments and see if I can, field any questions you have. But I remember when I hit a year out of surgery, I was so happy to have lost over 100 pounds in that first year that I kind of, in my own mind, had come to the conclusion that I had to continue doing what I was doing that very moment for the rest of my life. I remember, I have learned over the years who says I know everything while letting go of ego is opening up their mind to change. Yeah. And I can remember being a couple years away and struggling for a couple of years. I didn't gain weight, but I didn't continue to lose weight, and I should have been able to lose weight. What I recognized is when I go back and I think about it, in my conversations with my nutritionist, because I met with my nutritionist, there's a nutritionist that specializes in the blood work, the doctor, the whole team I would meet. When I go for my annual checkups, or even when I go for checkups in between, I meet with a team of like 3 or 4 people, and we cover all areas of my journey. Well, they would talk about how we did not give you this surgery hoping, hi, Miss Mary. Mary's the one who got me into Doc V's group. So thank you, Miss Mary. But my bariatric team told me from year one, we don't want you to live on Premier protein shakes for the rest of your life. We want you to figure out, and we want you to find a way to live a life of real, regular foods. Well, Teresa, or Tess, thinking I know everything, had decided that because the Premier Proteins shakes had worked that first year and got me over 100 pounds lost, I was attached to that idea of those shakes. And I would drink probably 2 of them a day for the next 2 years, with the result of really no additional weight loss. It took joining this group and being in a group with a couple of other people and Doc V, where Doc V kind of pointed out, how many of these shakes are you drinking? Is this what you should continue doing? Until he stopped and pointed out to me that maybe I didn't need those shakes. And then I started thinking about what my medical team said. I realized that they had gently encouraged me to make some changes, but I wasn't open to it. So I'm trying to recognize in my life quicker to be on my feet and to change. Because even for those of you who are in our paid challenge, you'll hear today that earlier this morning, Doc V was talking about how things change as we learn more. Like he was kind of explaining where the need for huge amounts of protein are. And I don't want to go into the explanation of it. So for those of you who are part of the paid challenge, listen to this morning's video, and he'll actually explain the particular surgical procedure that dictated the need for higher amounts of protein because people were having complications from the more extreme bariatric surgeries. Well, what happened is that kind of flooded through to all the rest of us, and now all of us are trying to operate under ownership of our problems is sometimes hard, especially when we feel we have justified. Yeah. And I really felt that I was doing the best thing for myself. I felt that if I lost weight on these shakes for a couple of years, that was what I needed for the rest of my life. I never connected and heard my nutritionist telling me I heard her, but I didn't believe her that maybe I needed to make changes. It wasn't until I got in this group and Doc V sat down and explained it all to me, and it probably took him a few times to talk to me, and then I was probably extremely hesitant about it, but I tried it and I started losing weight. And now a year later, I'm down nearly 40 pounds. What it's taught me, and what I guess I want to say for you guys now, is be open to recognize that information that you may have gotten may have worked at one time, but you may need to change. Or there may be no more technology for us to learn and grow. I did some looking into protein this morning because I talk live on my own page every morning. And this morning I was looking at protein and trying to understand all this about protein. My bariatric team says 60 to 80 grams. But I will be honest, there was a point in time I was hitting 100 to 120 grams. And I stopped losing weight because there's calories in that. And there's no real food consumption. And again, I'll keep watching for comments. But what it made me recognize is that if I can give you guys a gift of learning from my mistakes, it's try to be open to recognize when there are maybe chances for you to learn yourself a little better. We need more skills to make changes when we're stuck. Yeah, because I was so attached to the loss of that first year. I had attached the loss to a processed protein drink when in honesty it was from the reduced calories of having a small stomach that had extreme. Hi Sandra, so good to see you. Or Sandra, I'm not sure exactly which way, but welcome and thank you. But I don't know why I didn't recognize. So again, talking about, we need to be open to recognize when it's time to change, because our journey is going to look different. There's going to come a point in time, like I talked about, I get my blood work, and when I get my blood work, even if I'm not deficient in anything, I'll kind of look at it and go, well, what's running lower in the normal range? And then I kind of do something where I'll research fruits and vegetables and find out which ones have a little bit heavier amounts, and I'll flip it into my smoothies. Just because I like puzzles, that's a puzzle to me. I find it fun, and that's what I kind of do. And almost 5 years out, my blood counts are beautiful across the board, everything. I don't even supplement iron anymore, but I did have a surgical intervention that was not bariatric surgery that helped me on that. And I was severely anemic for nearly 10 years. That won't happen for everybody, and I know that. But if we can open ourselves up, like we were talking in group today, and we were even talking about the vaccines, and Doc V pointed out something to me, and I went back and looked, and he's right. We were talking about the vaccines, and I go, I know we all changed. Like at one point you weren't going to get it, at one point you were going to get it. And he goes, Tess, why do you think that? And I said, well, at one point you said you weren't going to get it. And he goes, but don't you remember the context of that? And I'm like, what? And he goes, I wasn't going to get it prior to the election. He goes, I never felt that I wasn't going to get it, but it wasn't until after the election. And I'm like, oh, you know what? He was talking about that. I do remember that. But my mind kind of honed in on one area, and that's what I thought. I did that with the protein shakes. I've done that in so many areas of my life that I've closed off to opportunities to learn too fast. So what I want to do is kind of remind you that something may work for a while, but you got to be open so that when you realize it's not working anymore, it may be time to take a look and find what you might be able to adjust and make yourself expand your circle of comfort so that you're continuing to grow on your journey. I won't say I wasted 2 years, because there's a knowledge that I gained when I came into this group, and I understood that I had given credit for my weight loss to the wrong thing. And that's okay, because I'm human and I make mistakes. But if I can now learn to recognize faster where I might be tripping myself up, then I'm going to get to go farther faster. And I think that's kind of like what we were talking about today. Is we were really talking about it connected to money. And it was that we all come with some pre-programmed thoughts, and we have to learn how to overcome them. And for me, I want to overcome faster, because you know what? I don't want to spend 2 more years. I don't want to spend 2 years working towards goal weight if I can pull it off in 6 months or a year. So I'm going to try to learn to keep open-minded. Subconsciously, our brain tries to fill in the holes in our mindsets, thought distortions. Yeah, and I think the greatest gift we can give ourselves is to recognize that. When I was looking at studying protein this morning, what I found really interesting is when I was looking at, and I looked at like Harvard, because I get a daily email from Harvard Medical, because I look them up so much, they just started sending me emails. But Harvard Medical, Cleveland Clinic, Healthline, there's a bunch of them. And when I started looking, Tess, are the group sessions with Dr. V geared towards those interested in bariatric surgery? Are they for general? They're actually anybody, because what he talks about is the tools that we all need. So he's actually working on the mindset part of it. And what I've learned through this journey is the mindset, I believe, is the biggest obstacle to overcome. And it's the obstacle we have whether we're surgery or non-surgery. These are tools that I can't go back, and a hard stop, I can't worry about what was past, but those are tools that I would probably be at goal weight right now had I been able to address them before surgery. And I may not have, in my case, I probably would have had to have surgery because my BMI was basically a 60, so that's dangerously high. But I could have maybe never gotten to that point if I had had the tools to handle my mindset sooner. Again, I'm not a medical doctor, but everything he does is about making us think and making us evaluate in the mindset area when we're in group. It's not, our groups are not about like the diet, because he won't push a diet. He has a preferred program, and I will tell you that when I am the most successful, I follow that program. And that program is a green smoothie, a big salad, and then whatever I want for dinner, flooded with a lot of water. And I am successful, and I will tell you that my weight loss this past year is because of that. Holes, I'm chuckling. I know, it's so funny. But it is the greatest gift. If we can open ourselves up, recognize that when we're starting to stumble, we've either got a bad thought in here, or it's time to shift something we've been doing. And I guess what I was starting to say is, when I was looking at the protein this morning, I was, I don't want to say the program, but there's community programs across the whole country. They try to do wonderful things for people. They actually have their own medical teams to put together these diet programs, and they rotate them every couple of years trying to improve them. But I can remember 15, 20, 25 years ago, when all these programs were fat and fiber, reduce the no fat, a high fiber, or, unlimited this, over limited that. There were such extreme programs. Well, what I realized this morning when I was researching protein is the high fiber kind of came from, the protein and high fiber came from what they consider the best parts of the protein consumption of the body. So I'm like looking through these articles I'm reading, I'm like, oh, well, there's where that fad diet came from. Oh, well, there's where that fad diet came from. Oh, well, here's where this one came from. I don't think anybody was trying to mislead anyone. They were just trying to find the tools to help us. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you. Let's see if I have any comments or questions. But I guess what I want to share is, if there's something I can help you guys with today, if you can learn from my mistakes in this journey, it's to keep yourself open. And I know we've talked about that before. Keep yourself open. What you did yesterday, even today, may need to be changed so that you can succeed tomorrow. What you think you heard somebody tell you, and what you're attached to thinking is making you succeed, may not be truly what was making you succeed. And I'm thinking of the example with the Premier Protein. I was married to it, for lack of a better way to attach it. My medical team, my bariatric team told me, we don't want you on these for the rest of your life. No more than one a day. But in my head, I thought I could have two. I was buying 12 cases of them every time they went on sale, because I had in my head that was why I lost the weight the first year. And it's not. There were many other reasons why I lost the weight. So I'm not trying, maybe I do sound like I'm being preachy. And I guess what I want to do as a friend, give you the gift that if you can open yourself up, recognize that you may have misunderstood something, or the time might be that you need to do something different, then that's what I would love to tell you. Be ready that if you're struggling, it might be time to open up for some possible new opportunity. The bars and protein shakes were such a crutch. And they were. I was married to them. I was so proud of myself because I could come up with 5 flavors that were within this parameter. And I didn't recognize, for 2 years, stayed attached to that because I was afraid that and this is the saddest part about it, I was afraid if I let go of what had caused me to lose 110 pounds, that I would gain the weight back. And it wasn't until COVID hit and I started to see my weight come on, and I got like desperately scared. And thank you, Mary, for getting me into this group. I was open at that point to hear somebody tell me something different. Now, I will say that my nutritionist asked me to stop, no more 2 a day, try to get to real foods, but I wasn't ready to hear her. And I was able to hear when Doc V told me, and when Doc V told me and I made the changes over the course of a year now, I've lost 40 pounds. May I have to adjust it again? Yep. And that's okay. I just have to continue to remind myself that what works today may not work tomorrow. And I have to remember, like he was talking today. Now, I don't like to eat anything that has artificial sugars or preservatives in it. Best fresh food. Yeah, Anissa, I agree with that completely. Artificial sweeteners cause problems. And I think it kind of goes to going back to eating natural. You know, sometimes people refer to it as the farmer thing. And I may have said this in this group before, but I'm going to share it. It's worth sharing. My family comes from farmers. I mean, one side of my family had a 140-acre farm in the South. Another part of my family baked and cooked and raised berries and like raspberries and strawberries and whatever they could. They did gardens to supplement income or to help them get over humps because they did whatever it took, and gardening was just natural. I mean, both of my parents, I'll say so, my parents get all excited now because I have a garden starting inside that's ready to go outside, and they'll all come over and look at things and give me pointers on, oh, wow, how did you do that? Or, hey, have you tried this, this, and this? But where I was leading with that is my mom told me once, I said, you know, Mom, everyone talks about, you know, if we go back to eating like the farmers ate big, huge breakfasts. And I remember that theory and thinking that that was true. And then I said, so Mom, did farmers eat big, huge breakfasts every day? You know, like you would get up and eat a big, huge breakfast and go out on the farm. And my mom goes, well, wait a minute. Where did you get that from? And I go, well, I just always thought that. And she goes, no, they spent half the day out feeding the animals first, getting them fed and getting them water. And then when they came in, she goes, basically, they'd already spent half a day before the sun got up feeding all the animals, and then they would have their big meal. So really, they'd already been up for half the day. And so I had a perception in my mind of what I thought life on the farm was from reading books and watching TV. And I had a source that birthed me, and I never even thought to ask. So I think we have to be careful of what we think we know. And Doc V says this all the time. Chris Nagel says this all the time. All of them say this. Your biggest problem is what you think you know. And the greatest gift you can give yourself, boy, aha for me today, and I've been in Doc V's group for over a year. I knew what they meant when they said that. But until today, something in today's group and something in this morning's talk made me realize that I have been too slow to recognize when it's time to change. And if I can give you guys that piece of advice, I want you to succeed and I want to succeed. Together, I want us all to reach goals that today are not even glimmers, but are so big that our lives will be full of so many amazing things that we can't even imagine it. And I can say a year ago, I never imagined where I'd be right now. And I can't even begin to put towards what I think a year from now will be because I want to be open to it. But I'm recognizing today that the first step is that I'm going to have to try to start to recognize when what I think I know is blocking me from moving forward faster, because I'm my own worst enemy, and I can see examples of it in my past. I had a misunderstanding of what a farmer's life was. I heard my nutritionist tell me. I heard her, and until I was in a group with Doc V, I didn't own it. I wasn't ready to own it. So if you can take a moment, if you're struggling, if you can take a moment and just pick one thing that isn't comfortable to change, just give it a try for a couple of weeks, a month. See if that can be the thing that triggers you over the scale. I'm going to tell you, it was hard for me to pack up because I started with Doc V in probably March of last year. And in January, I bought 12 cases of Premier Protein because they were on sale. It was pre-COVID. It wasn't like I was hoarding for COVID. That's always how I did it. When they went on sale, I would buy them, I would have them, and then I would drink them through the next 6 months to 8 months, and then I'd buy them again on sale. But I packaged those up because I kind of figured that since they weren't helping my weight loss and I had made the changes, I packaged them up and I took them to a a food pantry or a homeless shelter. Because what I thought is that even if they're processed, if they could have something in their pocket when they were wandering around, it would be better than not having any food at all. But what it makes me realize, and today even really cemented it, his talk this morning in group this afternoon, and just even in that, I thought I remembered what he said about the vaccine. And when he talked about it today, I'm like, I do remember him saying that he would not get one he would not get one before the election. And I'm like, I do remember him saying that. I do remember, and I didn't connect to it. I know that I heard my people tell me not to have not to have 2 Premier Protein a day, and that they'd like to see me get off of them. So I guess really, not to keep repeating the same thing, but I recognize that I need to open up. I recognize that I need to know that something may come along that can help me better than anything we knew yesterday, a month ago, or 6 months ago. So if we keep ourselves open, when we're finding that point that we're struggling, we might open up new amazing roads. Because Jane, we're on the Yellow Brick Road to Wonderland, where we're going to go to Wonderland and Oz and everywhere in between. There's amazing things waiting for us, and we've got to open ourselves up and give the universe and give God a chance to let them happen for us. We have to stop being our own block, our own roadblock. I'll look for any comments, but that was so eye-opening to me today when I realized, and I've heard it a million times, and I know you guys have heard it. The thing that gets us in trouble is what we think we know. And Chris says it this way: the thing that gets people in trouble is what they think they know that just ain't so. And I'm guilty of that. I saw a couple of cases of it today. And if I can help that not happen, I want to help that not happen for you guys. Carla, I have learned over the years, who says I know everything while letting go of ego is opening your mind to change and learn new things. Yeah. And learning new things, it's fun. If you put the right spin on it, it's fun. It really is fun. We even talked about this today in group. Education in the future, and I know other people have said this outside of group. In the future, it's probably not going to be the universities that were the past. It's going to be Google University. But for me, I've loved that my university has been whatever I wanted it to be this past year. If there was a program on law of attraction, I took it. If there was something with Hazel Ortega, I took that because she was from bounce checks to private jets. If there was money school learning, I've done that, So I got to actually cater a program of learning that interested me this past year. I've always loved to learn. I've always loved to read. But I always thought it had to be a college degree. And what I'm learning now is that if I'm a well-rounded person and I'm enjoying the learning, then why can't I do it? Started back writing everything I put in my mouth. Yeah, Jane, see, we're going to do it, Jane. We got places to go. And when my state becomes better and I'm allowed out and other people will welcome me, or when you can come or we can all go visit each other, it'll be great, because the opportunity that COVID has provided me is to meet a lot of amazing people all around the world. And one day we'll all get to meet. And one day we'll get to spend time together and help each other reach the next levels. So that'll be amazing. I'll look for any more comments. Kate, ownership of our problems is sometimes hard, especially when we feel we have justified resentments. It's also when we are ready to admit we don't know what we don't know is when we're ready to change. Yeah, it's so true. So I'll keep looking for the comments, but if you guys can keep yourself open, you'll find amazing changes waiting for you. Don't let the opportunity pass. I spent 2 years fighting something that was right before me, and my team was telling me, and I wasn't, even though they were the ones that got me through that first year, I wasn't ready to let go to go into year 2. So unfortunately, it took completing year 3 before I really reaped the benefits of it because I wasn't open to hearing it. I thought I knew more than they did. And they're going to learn along the way too. What they know today may change tomorrow also. So you have to be open for that. What you think you heard them say may be different tomorrow. We just have to be ready to make the changes so that we can get the most out of what's available to us. Subconsciously, our brain tries to fill in the holes in our mindsets, thought distortions, yeah. Are the group sessions with Doc V geared towards those interested in bariatric surgery? No, but it is personal development. And I know I mentioned that, Gina. Definitely 100% personal development. I know my group has had several people that are not bariatric and several that are bariatric. So it's all about mindset. It's all about overcoming this animal that seems to be my biggest block and my biggest obstacle. And let's see, I have learned so much through the challenge over the last 2 weeks. I am interested. And Gina, it's been amazing. I got involved in the groups from the day he started them. And I have no intentions of ever leaving. I hope I never ever, I don't ever want to leave any of this because as much as I've attended many groups, support groups, pre-COVID and joined a lot of groups along the way, everybody wanted to try to help with this part of it, but nobody came to it with the set of skills Doc V has, and nobody was able to bridge the gap in quite the way he did. I mean, to be a year out and still feel like I'm barely chipping the iceberg is pretty amazing because I'm usually a pretty quick learner, so doggone it, but that's okay. Learning is fun. Let's see. Started back writing. Great talk. Glad I checked my... Thanks, Dolly. And I hope so, because really, I'm just sharing what's in my heart, and I hope that it resonates with you guys. If you ever have questions or comments, I'm more than willing to try to help. I'm a student of Doc V's. He just asked if I would share my journey, and that's all I'm trying to do. Is maybe I know I'm different. We're all different, and I just hope that by sharing I can help. Room to grow and learn. Yep, and that's all we want. And I recognize so much today that I've created my own roadblocks, and I can't tell you how many times in the past year I've even heard Chris Nagel say, the biggest obstacle people has isn't what they don't know. It's what they think they know that just ain't so. And I'm like, you should tattoo that on your forehead because how long has it taken you to go, light bulb? It's been right on. You've been told it how many times, and why don't you listen? Oh, you're welcome, Gina. I'm glad that sharing is interesting because I didn't know if I could say it the right way, but yeah, and I do come from the heart. I want to be true to who I am, and I'll like I said, I'll tell you guys, this is the second time I've lost over 100 pounds. I don't want to ever have to do it again. It was heartbreaking to me every single time that I was gaining weight, and there were medical complications, there were medical problems. And in all honesty, had I had a different set of tools at the time and it was severe anemia. I was severely anemic. We were trying to find out what was going on in my body to cause it. But at that time, all they knew in the medical community to tell me was to eat protein and eat red meats and never stop putting food in your mouth. And that was kind of the approach. If I knew, and I can't go back and I can't fix it, but if I knew what I know now, I could have helped myself then not to get so far gone. But maybe that was a lesson that I had to learn to get me here today. And if that's the case, that's okay, because I am here today. And today is just the beginning of the next phase of my journey, because I'm not giving up. I've got all of you beautiful people as part of our tribe together, and we can make our lives better. Like Jane was saying, how I need everyone in the challenge and group. I've been so busy, and it's hard not to be centered to my daily routine. And it is hard because we can't do it alone. If we don't engage with mentors, because Dr. will talk about mentors all the time, or groups that are of like mind that are going to support us moving forward. There's not going to be somebody to point out when maybe you're headed on a different path. Doc V did it twice today. Twice today he said things that made me even go back and say, now Chris Nagel has said that too. Why didn't I recognize that I was falling into that pattern when I've heard these same statements for a year? And sometimes it just takes another person saying it and a chance for you to dig into it a little bit more. And like I said, some of these things I heard from my own nutrition team, but I was so attached to what I thought had made it happen that I wasn't open to hear. I will look for some additional comments, because once I get into this, all of a sudden I realize it's past a half hour. How did that happen? But I hope that you guys found this useful. I will watch for comments, and I'll go back and read these later to see if there's any additional comments. But if I can give you a gift today, the gift I would like to give you is to please keep yourself open. Don't follow in my footsteps and let 2 years pass you by where you're absolutely adamant that you know the answer when somebody else might be right there to be able to offer you the help, to take you and make your circle of comfort bigger and help you to achieve things faster than what you could do if you were doing it alone. We're all here together to help each other. And if I can help, I'm here to help. I know this challenge is amazing. Every member here is amazing. And together we can achieve amazing things. So if there's something that you heard, or there's somebody that you've been talking to in the group, just be open-minded to hear. They may take you to that bigger circle that will reap some rewards that you never dreamed possible. You guys have a beautiful, beautiful night. I'm going to post a link to my YouTube channel. I do daily talks on my YouTube channel, or on Facebook on my personal page in the morning. And then I've shifted them over to YouTube. I've put a couple of these talks over there too. But if you have any questions, pop them down. And thank you so much for listening. And remember, if we all keep ourselves open and we all learn together, we're going to achieve amazing things. Thank you so much, you guys, and have a beautiful night. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you so much.